So today we're diving into one of the most fundamental dilemmas of problem solving.
The tyranny of the quick answer.
Exactly. Why do we feel this, almost irresistible pressure to just leap to a conclusion?
When the real work, the truly transformative work, is all in framing the question itself.
And our sources today, they really revolve around this one thesis that's so powerful it's become legendary.
The Einstein quote.
Yes, the Einstein quote. If I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution.
I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask.
Right. And then, only then, he could solve it in less than 5 minutes.
And that 55-minute investment, that's really the mission for our deep dive today. We're going to unpack that.
We are?
We need to explore why our brains fight against that process, why they force us into these cognitive shortcuts.
And now we can shift from that sort of automatic fast thinking to the slow thinking we actually need.
To chart the right line of inquiry.
And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. Our sources point out there's a global infatuation with the right answer.
Where speed is equated with intelligence.
Yes. You see these smart managers, they're paralyzed by confusion, they're optimizing everything, but they're still failing on strategy.
Well, on the other hand, you have people who seem, maybe a bit slower or simpler.
And they always have the right solution.
They do. And the difference, we think, is valuing the question over the conclusion.
So to get to the bottom of that, we have to start with biology.
We have to. It might surprise you, but the reason we love these shortcuts is, well, it's physical.
Physical? How so?
Our human brain, which is only about 2% of our body weight, consumes a totally disproportionate amount of energy.
Okay, how much are we talking?
About 20% of our total metabolic energy.
20% for just 2% of our body mass? That is an astounding energy bill.
It is. And here's the kicker, the metabolic constraint that really drives our behavior. The brain has no way to store energy easily. Not like a muscle, which can store glycogen for, a burst of effort.
So when the brain has to do some heavy lifting, some deep thinking, it needs fuel right then and there.
Immediately. It is an incredibly expensive organ to run.
So if thinking is that metabolically costly, then the brain is. It's hardwired to look for the cheapest possible route to an answer.
Exactly. Whether that answer is right or wrong.
It's all about efficiency, not accuracy.
Precisely. This biological reality drives what the sources call the law of least effort.
The law of least effort.
Our brain is a magnificent pattern-matching machine, and it's designed to conserve energy by avoiding demanding calculations whenever it can.
So if there's an easy path and a hard path, we're instinctively taking the easy one.
Every time. But hold on, what about that 55-minute rule? Doesn't that risk missing a critical market window? If you have a crisis, you can't spend an hour just talking about the question, can you?
Well, that's the tension, isn't it? You need speed, but you need that speed applied to the correct task.
And our sources, they highlight a different cultural approach. They specifically reference the Japanese business tradition.
Okay, what do?
They actually embrace that initial slowness. They take the time to reach what the source calls a Quaker-like consensus on the right questions before anyone even thinks about moving forward.
That feels like it pushes back against the whole, ego-driven Western-style rush to be the first one with the answer.
It does, completely. That immediate desire by some managers to leap to a quick, decisive answer is often just. It's fueled by attempting to look good.
To seem smart and fast.
Yeah. The Japanese model values collective diagnosis over individual ego. They get the risk that comes from getting the right answer to the wrong question.
Because if you perfectly optimize the wrong plan,
You fail perfectly.
the trick then is to realize when that law of least effort has pulled a fast one on you, when it's swapped out the real problem for an easier one.
Absolutely. When we're faced with a tricky, difficult question, our brain will often substitute it with an easier one that we can answer quickly.
And the real danger is we don't even see it happening.
We don't. And this is the crucial point for every listener. You usually don't notice that this substitution is happening. You feel good, you feel satisfied because you found an answer, but you solved a problem that wasn't the real problem.
Okay, so to make this real, let's use the example from the source material. The fund manager looking at a company on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, the NSE.
It's a perfect scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It shows this cognitive shortcut happening in a really high-stakes environment. So you have a fund manager who needs to decide, Do we invest big in this food manufacturer?
Right. So they go out, they sample the products,
Exactly.
and the manager tastes the company's new line, maybe sees the trucks leaving the warehouse, and they think, wow, I love their products. They're so tasty. And their packaging, their distribution, it's first class. This company is fantastic.
And that visceral positive reaction leads them straight to a recommendation to invest.
That feeling, that gut feel, is
Yeah.
acting as a substitute for actual hard analysis.
It's powerful. It's compelling. But what is the actual painful question the manager has to ask to justify spending millions of dollars?
The painful question isn't about product tasting. It's about financial analysis. It has to be.
Ah.
Is the stock currently underpriced?
Precisely. Whether the manager likes the juice is totally irrelevant to the question of whether the market valuation presents a growth opportunity.
So they allowed their positive emotional response to the product to substitute for the complex calculation of stock valuation.
And this substitution, it has a name. It's a critical piece of jargon we need to understand.
The effect heuristic.
Yes, the affect heuristic. Heuristic comes from the Greek word to discover. It's a mental shortcut where our judgments are guided almost entirely by these immediate feelings, like or dislike, plain emotion.
It's the law of least effort showing up as an emotional judgment.
You got it.
And you can see this everywhere, right? The sources say on the NSE, share prices are often more driven by investors' emotions than business fundamentals.
People aren't checking the PE ratio, they're following a compelling feeling.
To put some structure around this, we need to bring in Daniel Kahneman.
Right. The 2002 Nobel Prize winner for economics, basically the founder of behavioral economics, he describes our decision-making as two distinct systems.
Fast thinking, which he calls System 1, and slow thinking, System 2.
Let's break those down.
Okay, so System 1, this is our default setting. It's the essential operating system for survival, always running in the background.
It's fast, it's automatic.
And it's essential. It's what lets you instantly know a stop sign means stop, or, read grief on someone's face in a split second.
It's a lightning-fast pattern matching.
And critically, this is where intuition, that affect heuristic, stereotypes, prejudice, biases, it all lives here.
And it requires no perceived effort.
None. Now, System 2.
System 2, by contrast, that's the demanding manager.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thinking that requires conscious, true, effortful mental activity.
This is what you engage when you have to calculate something like 17 times 24.
Right, which, if you're firing up your System 2 right now, is 408.
System 2 is the voice that says, wait, let me check those numbers, or let me find some conflicting data.
Precisely. It's slow, it's logical, it's deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
But because it uses so much of that metabolic energy, it's really vulnerable to fatigue and overload.
There's a great example of this in the sources.
The driving example.
Right. System 2 needs such intense focus that if you're driving, which uses System 1 for the basics, and you're also talking to your boss on the phone about a difficult, complex problem, which needs System 2, your capacity is just stretched to the limit.
That's why, as the source mentions, talking on a cell phone while driving is forbidden in Kenya. It's a literal recognition that the brain cannot safely process two high-demand tasks at the same time.
You either crash the car or you give your boss a terrible answer.
And this brings us to the core, actionable takeaway for you listening.
Okay.
You cannot just turn off System 1. It's your survival mechanism. But the key is to notice when it's made that swap. To catch that instant emotional System 1 reaction, the I love the tasty product, and immediately say, okay, now it's time to engage System 2.
That's the work. That's using the 55 minutes to ask the right question and then the 5 minutes to solve it with research and number crunching.
So how do we actually do that System 2 work in a structured way?
This is where strategy comes in, and the source material draws a really critical line here.
The world of difference between a strategy and an operational plan.
Talk about that.
In the business world, a lot of System 1 thinking just results in an operational plan, a set of actions to achieve a goal that's already known.
The problem is that many businesses, and our sources mention many Kenyan enterprises, have what's basically a hope for the best operational plan. It's built on optimistic gut feel, not real strategy.
They're optimizing the speed of the wrong boat.
Exactly. A true strategy is a rigorous System 2 process. It's built on solid diagnosis. It starts by avoiding the easy questions.
Like, how do we sell 10% more of our current product?
And instead focuses on the fundamental, sometimes painful question that challenges every single assumption you have.
And the ultimate System 2 question, according to our material, is this. What does the customer really want?
That sounds so simple.
It sounds simple, but it's often the most avoided question because the answer might just invalidate your entire business model.
You can't answer it with gut feel. You need tools.
Right, System 2 tools. A classic one is the 5 whys technique. You just keep asking why until you get past the surface problem and hit the core strategic issue.
Okay, so let's walk through that. Sales are down. The easy System 1 question is, how do we fix the website?
Right, but the System 2 process, the 5 whys, goes deeper. First, why? Why are sales down?
Because customers are abandoning the shopping cart. Why?
Because shipping is too slow. Why?
Because our warehouse is inefficient. Why?
Because our logistics were never designed for small batch, high-speed delivery. Final why?
Because we assumed customers valued low prices over speed.
And bang, there it is. That last why reveals the faulty assumption. It forces you back to the core question. What does the customer really want?
And by using System 2 to drive that diagnosis, the best outcome isn't just a small improvement.
No, the goal, as the source suggests, is to use that deep understanding to reinvent the category completely.
It's not just about being better than the competition.
It's about reinventing the basis of competition. Or, even better, inventing a whole new category where you're the only player.
And that kind of disruptive move only happens when you spend your 55 minutes finding the question that everyone else is too comfortable to even ask.
Which brings us all the way back to Einstein and the power of that focused inquiry. The critical risk isn't a quick answer. It's substituting the hard, essential question for an easy, comfortable one.
We have to learn to sit with that discomfort, that uncertainty that comes with spending 55 minutes just in diagnosis.
And that capacity for deep learning, for critical self-correction, that's what separates mastery from mediocrity.
It reminds me of the wisdom attributed to Socrates.
Which is,
smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. Stupid people already have all the answers.
and those who already have all the answers are living entirely in their System 1. They are experts at solving the easy, wrong problem perfectly.
So as you face your next complex challenge, we want to leave you with a final thought to explore.
If the ultimate goal is to define a category reinventing strategy, what is the easy question your brain is offering you right now? The one that makes you feel immediately productive.
And what painful fundamental System 2 question are you actively avoiding?
The one that, if you finally addressed it, might truly allow you to reinvent the basis of competition.
Take the next 55 minutes to find that question. Thanks for diving deep with us.